Okay, hey, recording has started. I'm Sonia Falayan, and thank you for tuning in to my YouTube channel, Mind and Manna. And here we talk about issues that center the voices of Black women, mature Black women who are thinking about retirement or who are at retirement age or who are making some plans in the future about their retirement, and who are also interested in exploring new places, perhaps moving abroad or at least expanding horizons to where um, women are willing to take an extended break, or who may be interested in living out of the United States for a part of the year, maybe for a few months at a time, or maybe 6 months at a time, or maybe a month at a time. Um, uh, if we also talk about some financial self care issues. And always, it's important for me that we center our conversations around the importance of rest and taking care of ourselves. If any of those things sound of interest to you, please like and subscribe, share, and comment about what you hear on this channel. My followership, I would like it to grow a little bit more in the year of 2025 so that I can cross that thousand. I'd like to cross that threshold of 1,000. I haven't done that yet, but that certainly is a goal for the first quarter of 2025. So, having said that, wow, it's a little more November, December. We're not quite 2 months out of the last election in the divided states, as I call them. A friend of mine has used that term, and it sounds appropriate to me. A lot of changes have happened, a lot of anticipatory changes. I think some things are going to be probably worse than we imagine. I think some things are not going to be as bad as we imagine. I also believe that because of who we are as Black people, we have certain skills around survival and resilience that are really going to help us and carry us through um, times of uncertainty. Our history has been that we have survived horrible, horrible, horrible conditions, and I believe we're going to survive these as well. With that being said, I'm hearing a lot of chatter in some social media groups, online groups, and people are saying, "I think I want to leave the country. Um, where should I go? Or what's a safe place for me to travel? Or where can I live where it's going to be cheap? Where can I live for $400 a month? I'm hearing these questions, but really, the I think these are questions that are asked out of context. And I have put together some ideas about things to the one of the better ways to consider where you might want to go. And so I have 8 things to think about and a bonus that you can add to your repertoire. There's a lot of information online right now about what to do, the best way to do it, where to go. So I want to share some things that I think are relevant that you can add to the growing list of ideas that you already are cultivating. So let's go for it. I'm going to start with number 1. The first question I have is, it's important to ask yourself, where are you going? You want to consider the residency requirements of the place that you're considering or the places that you're considering. How long can you stay in a country on a tourist visa? And what are the residency requirements? It's very stressful if you're planning to live somewhere long term and you're having to leave the country every 3 months or every 6 months to go back and then come back, to go and come, to go and come. That gets very stressful after a while. So I think that as you are considering places that you want to live, that the residency requirements should be front and center. That should be a forethought, not an afterthought. It will help you to kind of start narrowing down places. And what kind of residency visa can you have? Can you come in on a student visa? Can you come in on a digital nomad visa? Can you get a temporal visa that will turn into a permanent visa? Can you get a permanent visa? Are there income requirements? Are there are there amnesty rules that can allow you to bend the income and savings requirements, what you were supposed to have in your retirement account? That's going to vary from place to place to place to place. So it's really important that you ask those questions as you're considering where it is that you want to be. I think the second thing, number two, is to reach out to friends and family members, um, and those who have actually made a move, to get a sense of where you're going. Now, let me also say you cannot live your experience through someone else, but you certainly can start asking questions. What was it like for you? How was the move? How how did it affect your expenses? How easy has it been for you to navigate once you have moved? What made you decide to move where you moved? What were the decisions that brought you to the final decision of where you decided to be? Also, as part of that, um, it may be appropriate to find a soft landing, a community where you can land and use that as a base to explore other parts of the country that you're in. I am in Mexico. I'm in Chapala, Jalisco, Mexico. I love it here, but Chapala is not for everyone. And one of the things that I love about Chapala is the ease and access that I have to the international airport at Guadalajara. Chapala is a town of around 55,000 people. And when I want a big city experience, I can go to Guadalajara, which is about 45, 50 minutes away. The airport is only 20 minutes away. So I have access to all of the experiences of a big city, since Guadalajara has somewhere between 5 and 8 million people, art galleries, nightlife, theater, all those things. Um, High end shopping, for those rare times that I want that experience. Being near an airport for quick access was one of the determining factors for me. Also, I'm very near to other cities that I can get to easily by plane or by bus here in Mexico. There's so many beautiful places to explore. I'm also only 4 hours by air time from my family members. I have family members in Massachusetts. I have family members in Kansas. I have family members in Chicago, and I have a long-standing base of uh, friends and fictive family members in Charlotte, North Carolina. So I can get anywhere I need to be from here in 4 hours or so. Okay, the next thing, number three, is to create a budget and figure out income streams that are going to sustain you. One of the things that's going to be really important is to have an ongoing income and revenue stream, or more than one. Even people who have Social Security, it's the thing that we have to think about still is inflation. Prices are going to continue to rise. Globally, prices are going to rise. They're going to continue to rise. Since I've been here in Chapala, I have seen an increase, a tremendous increase in how much things cost. There's also supply and demand. Wherever there's supply, wherever there's demand, the price is going to go up to supply that demand. So now is the time to start thinking about how can I create assets that are going to sustain me where I decide to move. Um, what are some things you can do to keep inflation at bay, or how can you stay above and ahead of inflation? Do you have a craft? Do you have something that you can sell? Do you have a digital products that you can sell? Can you teach online? I really, 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 really advise against trying to find work here. For example, in Mexico, I am very, very, very intentional about not working here and taking any income away from the Mexican nationals. There's a lot of poverty in Mexico. And because incomers like myself are having an imprint on gentrification and helping prices to go up, it's very important for me that I am not taking away from the local economy or people who need jobs. So for that reason, I began working on a digital business before I moved, so that I would have not only income but some residual income as well. Those things help me to stay ahead of inflation to keep it at bay. Um, so use your imagination and use this time while you're planning to start thinking about how you can sustain yourself. What are some creative ways that you can think of to sustain yourself? Also, I think just the way that things are changing in the world globally with so much automation and the globalization of products and services, that we have to start thinking out of the box anyway, because the global market is changing. Okay, the number four. Make a scouting trip to get boots on the ground and see for yourself. You need to get boots on the ground, see for yourself information. While I suggested that you talk to family and friends about their experiences, which I highly recommend, you have to get here on your own. Wherever it is that you are thinking about, you've got to make a scouting trip or two to really understand where you're going and where you are in context. You've got to look at your facility of the language, how receptive the community is to whatever ability your language is to speak. Um, you want to know what the streets are like. You want to know what the sidewalks are like. You want to get a sense of how far you have to walk to places. You want to get a sense of, can I manage in this community with or without a car? How easy it is to access transportation? What kind of community is here that I can use for support? You're not going to find those things out with a virtual phone call or by secondhand information. You'll need to be here to experience that yourself. But the other thing that's really wonderful and amazing is that once you actually have your feet on the ground, amazing things open up. Information opens up. You find out about apartments, you find out about houses, you find out about amazing places that you want to see and visit. You learn about a particular doctor that has a specialty that you need. You find out about just a host of things. The world will open up to you once you actually are here. Number five. Number five is use common sense and trust your gut. Use common sense and trust your gut. Sometimes that means making unconventional moves that can seem irrational to other people. You have to trust your own inner voice. I can't stress that enough. Your inner voice, your inner guidance system, whether you call it the Holy Spirit or whether it's intuition, whether it's that sixth sense, whether it's discernment, it will not steer you wrong. It will not steer you wrong. So if that inner voice is guiding you to a certain place or to make a move or to hold back on something or to move forward on something, even if it looks crazy to other people, trust your gut. It's so, so, so important. And I think this is really important when we're talking to family members and close friends who really love us and want the best for us. But their fears can sometimes overshadow a beautiful opportunity for you to grow. Number 6 is to get as much free information as you can, but be wise, and pay professionals who can help you, especially Black people who are already living and thriving where you want to be. This is not a time to cut corners and to be cheap. Go ahead, support a Black business, support someone who's already on the ground who can help you navigate some of the natural hurdles that you're going to encounter. You will actually save money and time in the long run when you invest in that process. Okay? That's just really important. Go ahead and spend a few dollars to get the information you need, cut some time, and to make your move happen faster. Number 7, start the purging process now. Even if you have no idea where you're going, start getting rid of your stuff. Separating from your former life into your new one means processing many layers of letting go. Start now by purging your closets, cleaning out junk, and getting rid of stuff that you no longer need or items that you have not used. Oh my God. This is not only a physical process, but it's an emotional process. You may need to hold someone's hand to get you through it. Personally, I did the purging in stages. I moved to Mexico 3 years ago. Um, I did the big purge, the big purge before I moved because I uh, had moved out of an apartment into a much smaller place. I was teaching on campus. I was teaching on campus of an HBCU, and I actually had housing on campus. Um, but to get to that part, to that point, I really had to do some purging ahead of time. I had a lot of space in my apartment on campus, so when I decided to make the move, my goal was to get my items into a 10 by 10 storage unit. I was mostly successful, but not entirely. I did have some stuff in a friend's garage. I have had a few boxes in another friend's house. I had things all over the place. Um, but by the second year, I was able to get everything. Well, on my return trips back to North Carolina, I was able to get the majority of my things into a 10 by 10 storage unit. Oh, I forgot. The main thing, the hardest thing for me was downsizing my studio. I had a very large studio in Charlotte, um, very large textile studio in Charlotte. Whew, purging that studio, that was a major work. No, that was a major work. Um, that was a major work. And then I moved to another much smaller space in Charlotte, downtown Charlotte. Um, so it's been a process. Last year, this year, 2024, I physically moved here in 2021. 2024, I went through um, my storage, my studio, my smaller studio in Charlotte, because I had waited until then to really go through the really intimate things. Um, I thought I would be able to get everything done in like 4 or 5 days. It took me over 2 weeks, and I cried every single day, going through the last vestiges of my life, certificates and awards and papers and, papers that I'd written. Oh my God, things that people had given me over the years, sentimental things. Um, Oh my goodness. I went through another purge of my mother's and my father's things and got them into a small box. Um, Artwork, my instruments, my drums. It was painful. I do have the majority of my things now are in a 10 by really are in a 10 by 10 storage space in Charlotte. I do have some drums and friends of at a friend's house. I have two boxes at another friend's house for the most part. So my goal for the end of 2025 is to have everything in a 5 by 5 unit. And I'm just going to keep that because those are the last few things that I'm going to have, at least for now, till if I decided to purge it more. The other thing is I don't want to leave my children, my adult children, with a bunch of stuff of mine to go through after I pass away. They're number one, they're not going to want my stuff. That's number one, and number two, I just don't want to. I just don't want to do that to them. So this year also I'm working on, getting my final paperwork and stuff in better order and talking to my children about my expectations and theirs. But I'm very clear that I don't want to leave them with a bunch of stuff and a house full of stuff that they have to sort through. Okay, number eight. Okay, number seven. I just wanted to reiterate that the purging process is a physical and an emotional process. Give yourself time because it's no joke. But you have to go through it in order to get on the other side. And the other side is really so beautiful. And remember that you can't take everything with you into a new life. If you hold on to all the other stuff, you really limit what your new life and new opportunities can bring. So let go of stuff so that you can allow the new and wonderful to come in. Number eight, start gathering your medical records. Get your things digitized. Talk to your doctors, your specialists, so that when you move, you are able to access your records and you can transfer them as needed. So those are the eight. Those are the eight that I can think of off the top of my head. So add those eight to the other things that you've heard about and you've thought about. The number nine and the bonus thing that I want you to think about is to understand the importance of knowing the difference between travel and emergency evacuation service insurance. Hospitals in Mexico are for profit. They don't have to treat you if you don't have the money to pay. And also, if you have a bill in Mexico, you have to have that bill paid before you can be released. So having some emergency money is important. For those who have Medicare, it's important to find a hospital that will accept it for emergency services. Um, but it's also important to be able to have emergency evacuation services insurance available. That way, in case of emergency, after you're admitted, because there are hospitals in Mexico that will take your insurance for emergency. But if you're going to have an ongoing issue that's going to require surgery or something beyond acute care, you're going to want to be able to be evacuated out of the country to the hospital of your choice. The insurance that I use is Massa, but there are others. There's SkyMed. There's a host of them. Explore those options. Put that in your budget, and that would be in addition to travel insurance. Um, your emergency evacuation insurance also could include travel insurance, but travel insurance by itself is not the same as medical evacuation in case of emergency. So those are my 8 suggestions plus one for 8 steps to uh, leaving or preparing to leave the divided states of America. All right. Thank you so much for watching. And I will see you the next time. Now, if I can just figure out how to end this. Yeah, I'll see you the next time. So thanks so much. Bye bye.